Yeah. No, there's one more thing I wanted to write down actually. Where's my pen? Here it is. Give me a moment. Wish I had more hours in the day to figure this shit out. There we go. Here's one I didn't write down earlier in the thumbnail of this, but definitely as important. Good evening and welcome to another Wide Open Phones. This is a show where I definitely have a topic to talk about. If you've read the description, then you already know. Well, if you've read the title, then you already know. But in the, let's just say, unlikely event that somebody tunes in and they got something to say, you can call in. You can either call in or you can StreamYard in. We got that fixed. After Nick Schulander says, it's never gonna fucking work. I'm always gonna have issues. Finally got things figured out. I feel like sampling some of the lunch meat I got a couple weeks ago that I got on discount. So that's what I'm opening in the background. I'm going to cut that up a bit. If you've ever listened to the show before, or at least the old show, the Laughter at Humanity show, one of the things it's known for was having the classical music in the background. Now, this isn't the style that I normally do when I'm doing a show, but this is in fact, well, literally off the radio. This is also a test for me, so could end up having to do this offline if I get flagged here or something like that. YouTube and Instagram both have a nasty habit of flagging people for playing music, but last I checked, and I still remember I got a couple of the live videos flagged for some reason. Classical is pretty much, what's the word? Open source, public info. I can't remember what it's called. So anybody can play it, anybody can reproduce it, all that stuff. You think your Beethoven, your Mozart and stuff. Now, I think this is a local station, so maybe there's something that'll be local here that's played that might get picked up. Who knows? We're gonna find out. Always experimenting, man. Never stop experimenting. As I finish continuing to set up here, I'm gonna try something new. Live mining. We're doing it live. Yes, we are in fact doing it live. There you go. Now I got power. Did sort of a similar setup that I have now, which there's no point even trying to explain because there really isn't a way to explain it. Yeah. Oh shit! There we go. We're in almost a full fucking amp there. I now have my device plugged in case you're wondering, it's been a struggle with this because the charging port is almost completely broken, and I have to do special things in order to basically get it to charge. Luckily, I'm still able to get it to charge, but that's been an ongoing issue, especially since I'm using this to live stream. Because apparently at Fort Sky Dungeon here is the only thing I can do to actually, live stream and talk to people online. So good to know. A few updates before I get into the meat of the matter here. One, you guys better see it in my profile pic. I actually do rock a cape every day now. It's part of my get up. And it's part of the reason is that because it completes the look that I'm going for. And Vince talked about this in the Mask and Geek chat. By the way, if you're not a member of masculinegeek.life, I highly suggest you get on that train. I highly suggest you go there, point up the money. Some of the stories that I'm hearing from his latest guest. What was his latest guest? What was his name? Got it written down here. Mark Zolo. The Naughty Nomad. That guy has stories to tell about damn near any country you could think of, or that will at least be on your radar, and quite a few that wouldn't be, which is something I found fascinating, but makes sense. So as I'm starting to actually kind of expect, I go from, like, okay, he's hosting this, and there's this random guy, I don't know who this is, like, why should we be listening to him? And then, not that Vince would pick somebody that's boring to listen, it's just that, no, it's a serious question. It's like, who is this guy, and why should I know who he is? And you start listening, it was like, holy shit, man, like, dude, don't stop telling stories. I'm not even going to give away any of the material that, was brought up there. There's a private chat that, in case you're wondering, there have been people asking, should they see my face or whatever? Should I show myself on camera? Actually, the setup I have now, I could totally do that. For now, I am not. And if you want to know why not, you can go to safetyphd.com to find out why. His latest episode pretty much talks about that. As a hint, deep fake, that's a thing now. And apparently that's been a thing for the last 1 or 2 years now. But yeah, that was definitely a conversation worth tuning into. Not just because of guests, but the people who were there, Vince, Nick, Amos, Joe, Bull Rush. This roast beef ain't half bad. And I'm not talking about some used lady parts. Really, beef is like this stuff does age at least a little bit. At least the beef does. Roast beef can be kind of tough. This is actually pretty nice and supple. Yeah, unlike some chicks who actually have roast beef. Anyways, back to the topic of the cape. No, we actually have material to get to. Don't worry. Amos, if he's listening to this, he's probably losing his fucking mind. That's fine. I like people to lose their minds at least a little bit. You lose your mind, and we can build a new one. The cape, it has its aesthetic effects, of which definitely has worked for the most part. But I coated it not only with fire retardant, it is let them burn season after all. But I have coated it now with multiple layers of water repellent, which is going to be far more practical up here. And got a first trial run today. Now, I'll say this, the material on it is not that great. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's definitely not heavy duty. Let's put it that way. And when I first, I went with the first initial, what do you call it? First initial coatings. And I was still filling water like on my shoulders and stuff. I'm like, hey man. Usually this stuff, the stuff I use actually fucking works. And I got some other stuff. I'm like, okay, does this shit not work? What the fuck's going on? Use a different compound at first, and then I tried this stuff, which I know works, and still not working. And I put about 3 or 4 more coatings on it, and today it worked okay, up to a point. When it was just like the regular rain that was coming down, which definitely wasn't torrential or anything. It was just not even not a light, above a light mist for sure. It definitely was rain, but on the lower side. It actually worked against that, but anything heavier than it kind of worked against it, but it still went through. And my theory on this is the material is so porous that even though the material that's on there is now agoraphobic, or what the hell, I think agoraphobic, oleophobic, I can't remember which one. The one that repels water, basically. It's too many gaps that the water can actually get through if it's heavy enough. So I'm going to be sourcing a more heavy-duty cape as far as that goes, because that's going to really help during the winter. Like, so I don't be getting myself and my weights and all this and all my gear stuff super wet. It's one of the main reasons I actually got the cape to begin with. So it's one reason why. Another thing I ended up finding out tonight, tonight was actually pretty busy. This is actually a very good night work-wise. made quite a decent amount, but I still ended up having enough downtime, or at least towards the end, where I was able to post last night's show. Again, Amos, if you're listening, don't take that too hard. Just my own thoughts there, man. Because you got your own criticisms there, and look, at some point, I got to push back. What can I say? But I went into the incident that happened, which that's the one place I'm going to talk about it. And maybe if somebody's really curious and they're on a show or something, if that ever fucking happens again, there's a reason that might actually happen again coming up here. But there, I might talk about that again. But I think I got that pretty much well laid out. So if you're new to this channel, please go to what's in the chat here. Leave out the / part. Just go to goddamnbacon.com. It's the latest post there. I know, because I put it there. One thing I ended up finding out today, after that and scrolling Instagram, I'm looking for new model chicks to get screenshots of so I can use them in later posts and all that kind of stuff. The things that I'm known for. And I see a post, it's from a local place here. And basically it's saying, like, hey, thanks for the patronage or whatever, but we see more restrictions coming. And they're apparently extreme restrictions, which leads me to believe they were talking about restaurants and bars. They were asking, we'll be open for takeout and delivery, order through our third-party apps, and, we're looking at our own delivery and all this stuff. Which I think rather logically leads to me thinking, hey, they're going to be shut down for dine-in service yet again. Why? Because reasons. Actually, really why? Well, again, I'll be honest. I mean, I had a tiny bit of hope that even the Washingtonians would be tired of this, the Oregonians would be tired of this, the Californians would be tired of this, like everything that's happened, all the lockdowns, all the regulations, the wear mask bullshit. I actually thought at this election, Juan Cabrera thought this too. I don't know if he has a website. You can find him. Just look up Juan Cabrera. Lou_415, I think, on Instagram. He documents a lot of the homeless shenanigans that goes on in San Francisco that nobody else will cover. So go check that out. He's in San Francisco, and he was predicting a blue wave. And based on what I know about California outside of the major cities, it actually is pretty red. The area that I lived in, June Lake, Definitely fucking red. Mammoth Mountain, same way. For the most part, at least. So I figure the rest of the state, you know, plus all this bullshit that's happening that's fucking with everybody. Would actually, you know, make things flip. You know, it would actually be a landslide victory, and that's what a lot of people are calling for. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I still remember 2016. Stefan Molyneux, you remember that guy? Well, he got basically platformed off of everything. He's still producing content. You can go to freedomain.com to go find it. I think he's on Parler too as well. He made the point back in 2016. Don't just assume that the election is won. Assume that you're losing and keep rallying. And that's what happened back then. And then basically what he said was going to happen was going to happen. And that didn't happen this time. I think one of the things that happened, aside from the other things that I thought was going to happen, happened. Well, one, there's a 95%, and that's going to ensure things are going to go badly anyways. But also, there was so much faith that he was going to win. You know, there was all the boat rallies, there was the tractors, and all this other bullshit. And the three, there, of course, there was the voter fraud. I think that was the big case too, but who knows how widespread that was. In any case, forget the statewide stuff, but as far as up here, yeah, pretty much a fucking sweep. The left won. And last I checked, the left were the ones who had a lot of things that most of the fucking state was pissed off about in the first place. So you figure they go maybe right or libertarian or Green Party or some shit like that. Nope. For the right along party lines, anyways. And thus, there goes the last hope I had of hell ever making a decent argument ever again, based in person at least. Maybe for a listener or something, I'll make one, but not these assholes. What's the point? But the news I ended up finding out tonight, I was on Instagram, I was scrolling through things looking for new pictures to use, and I came across a local restaurant. Well, the infographic said, "Hey, thanks for all the support the last few months. Unfortunately, they're hearing about new pretty stringent lockdowns coming or rules or whatever coming up again." I'll admit, March up here this year. Now, as far as I go, I'm really hopeful about this, you know. At least, first of all, I'm hearing about this a little bit more ahead of time. There's advertising that they'll be available for takeout deliveries, which should give you a hint on what's going to be locked down. And they're saying, you know, rely on their third-party delivery services, of which I will be a part of. So as far as I know, my employment isn't going to be affected. Well, I know Amos does the same thing I do, so his employment is also not going to be affected as well. If anything, both of us, our business is going to go up. Which I guess for us, that's going to be good. But for restaurants, the bars, you know, the hospitality services as a whole, that's going to fucking tank again. And one of the last places I went to, you know, I showed them that, and
just becoming possible as the instrument itself was evolving. Beethoven with his fourth piano sonata from 1797, it's Opus 7, led by Jane Cooper. Same for Vivaldi, who would have been happy with any plucked instruments when he wrote this concerto, whether it be a Baroque guitar or a mandolin, or in the case of Ron McFarlane, the lutenist. All of them work for this piece.
The local classical station. There you go. The lady, I got my order, but I waved her over. Was like, I wanted to make sure you know about this, and I'll be doing this. I think it said this shit starts next week or something, which is a day or two away. But luckily, you know, as far as that goes, she knew about it. That had been the talk for, you know, the last couple of days, I think. Which means I was late to that party again. By the way, I mean, that's something that I knew was going to fucking happen. I knew it was happening in California. It was happening in New York. Not happening in Florida, I don't think. But I know, you know, like, I knew the moment I found out that basically, you know, this whole state pretty much fell to communism again, despite all the bullshit that's going on here. I knew there were going to be more lockdowns coming. I knew it. And this just confirmed it. And I wanted to make sure they knew. And they are fucking worried about this shit. And put it this way, you know what? Maybe, I don't know, the waitresses and maybe even the waiters or bartenders or whatever, maybe they are a little bit more left-leaning. Who knows? Maybe they voted this shit in which case, let them burn. Most restaurant owners, most wait staff and all that stuff, since they have to work, that's literally working in the real world. And a lot of times you're working on, and you're paying your rent and groceries on the kindness of others. Tend to lean a little bit less communist. Let's just put it that way. Your mileage may vary depending on the locale, but you know what? Having worked in that industry myself directly, I would hedge my bets and say that that's the case. And a lot of those guys, those small businesses, those small restaurants, those small bars, and all that stuff, a lot of them up here have already, they've closed their shutters. They're done. The buildings are up for sale for anybody who actually has any money to buy them. And that was just over a few months. Understand that restaurants operate on pretty thin margins. So any monkey wrench that's thrown in the works there, it's thrown in the gears, that's going to be a real fucking threat unless they're really fucking established. Like the Tiger Bar, pretty established. I'm not worried about them going under. Any restaurant that's open for 15, 20 years or something, they're pretty well established. They got the real estate handle. That's one of the biggest expenses. And they got their core base there. As far as customers go, they'll be okay. The new ones that are starting up, small to even medium, they're fucked. The ones that depend on people actually coming in and sitting down eating, they're on real fucking alert right now. So I'll talk about that more on the next End Times Report. In part 1, I have another subject to talk about. And 2, I'm speaking on speculation. I don't know how extensive the latest lockdowns are going to be in the upcoming week, if they are coming at all. I'll say this, though. If they come, you know what? Feel bad for a lot of the restaurant owners, but this is happening in an area where y'all motherfuckers voted this shit in. I thought you would maybe at least see a glimmer of the light there, but no, you're still in complete darkness. So you know what? Let them burn. On to the topic. Half an hour later, and now Amos has ripped out the rest of his hair because I've been talking about all kinds of other shit. This wine is pretty good, by the way, to make him rip out the rest of his hair. What is this? I had this white sitting in my booze fridge for the longest, and I never got to it. Oh, it's a $4 bottle. Sycamore Lane Chardonnay. 13.5 by volume. I'm drinking out of my remaining Wine and Chocolate Festival glass. I broke the last one last night. It was very sad because it's a very good glass, and they're rare. They were made for one specific event, and last I checked, they weren't made ever again. So I have on my Amazon list now a set of actual glasses and stuff. And maybe I'll diversify. I'll get something more to red glasses, something more to white glasses. Probably not too much to white glass because I don't drink that much white wine, really. This actually is a rarity. I think I'll preserve this one a little bit more. So on to the subject matter. Now I'm sure everybody who listens here If you're listening here, and if you're not listening here, then what the hell's wrong with you? Well, actually, if you're not listening here, then you're not hearing this, so go fuck yourself. But thank you for listening here as well. If you know me, you already probably know Nick Shoelander, nickshoelander.com. I'll let you read the caption to actually properly spell that. So we decided to trade services. He wanted to hire me at first, but I figured I might want to learn his marketing shit. So at some point I'll get to it. I have not been able to for the last few months. Actually, a lot of months, and he's probably fucking given up on actually teaching me any of this shit. I'll get back to it, Nick. Actually, I'll probably get into that sooner than you might think. But I negotiated a barter, which you agree with. You know what? I'll help you not be Cachetone anymore, and that means, I don't know, basically he's overweight. He's not out of shape, but he's definitely carrying extra body weight. And he wanted to not carry so much.
Last court himself, Lieutenant Ron McFarlane for the concerto by Antonio Vivaldi, with the Bach Symphonia led by Daniel Abraham for the virtuosity from Vivaldi, and violin
More Vivaldi, huh?
ahead with Paganini, and then we get a Requiem by a late classical period Portuguese composer.
So that's how you pronounce it.
Supported KFM and an HD license. Sean McLean listening.
I thought it was Rakim.
98.1 and HD1 KING FM Seattle. Listener supported classical from the Pacific Northwest.
Are they doing commercials or what? What are they doing there? To pull a chord and play a foghorn, but nope, 4 strings, all of them have to be working overtime if you're going to play this Caprice number 16 by Paganini.
Just trying to remember if they played commercials on this. I can't remember. Anyways, we're doing our training, and then, you know, a whole lot of things happened over the last few months, and his training and diet kind of took a shit. My training and diet, in fairness, also took a shit, so that's fine. We ended up stayed the night at his place twice, you know. Once, you know, it was the first leg to get to Salt Lake, and then the second was the leg to get back to my place. So I got to see what, you know, his kind of diet was. So his is a little bit more specific than the other guys, the other two that I will be talking about here. The reason that he did his, so he would have an idea, you know, he fed me the same thing basically. Which sounds fine, by the way. Maybe that was a commercial. What the fuck is this?
What made this next composer unique is that he wasn't into opera. He was a composer and he was a pianist, but João Domingos Bontempo, an Italian father in the Portuguese court orchestra, put all of that big text ideas into things
Sorry, buddy, but I'm going to talk over you because I want to get this out.
at the Gulbenkian Foundation.
Yeah, so I got an idea of what exactly he would eat. And that's not counting any cheat days. That's not counting days that he's not telling you about. Trust me, that's real fucking rampant when you're talking about personal training. You know, like the clients, they'll tell you about what they're eating. They won't tell you. They won't tell you about some of the things that they are eating behind the background. Like I'll tell you what I'm eating right now. In case you haven't pieced that together, I am eating right now. In part because I need to get rid of some of this stuff, but I'm probably eating it much later, anyways. You know, I had a taste for something. I'm eating, what is this, like bacon, horseradish cheese, I think? What is this? Yeah, bacon, horseradish cheese. There's some roast beef. I think I talked about that one already. And there's a bunch of pepperonis. And I just like eating pepperonis. What can I say? And I'm pairing this with a nice cigar and white wine, which I haven't had in a long time, actually. But not only did I see what he was cooking in his own home, I got to see what he ordered, you know, at the restaurants we went to. The Airbnb that we had did not have a kitchen, so there was no opportunity for us to cook there. So we pretty much had to go to places to go eat, which I was fine with. And trust me, I took advantage of that shit. Of which they saw the results afterwards. They support me rushing to the bathroom like 4 or 5 fucking times a day. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm tired of dealing with this fucking gas, basically. Every meal was like some sort of burger or sandwich or something else with bread. And bread, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the least digestible things, even if it's sourdough or, you know, whatever. We'll probably be discussing here in a moment as well. Speaking of bread, one of the things I know is Amos specifically. And Joe, he might have done this as well. Fan of pancakes. Pancakes is served. And I'm not saying that's not delicious. Trust me. I like those, and I like waffles too, or at least I used to. Probably wouldn't be too opposed to them, you know, taste wise now. But it's called liquid crack for a reason. One of the things you don't want to fucking eat if you care about your health. That's just straight up carbs and maybe some fat in there if you're adding butter to it. Which the butter, I think that's what people demonize the most about pancakes is the butter. And that's probably the healthiest part of it. Actually, I take that back. It is the healthiest part of pancakes. And that's including whether it includes strawberries or other fruit or anything in it. Well, let's get to the list. Number one I have up here, stop drinking calories. Amos Joseph, you are the one I'm looking at as far as this goes. Joe, you as well. Now, Nick, you don't do it all that much, and the reason you don't is because you go for the diet options. You go for the sugar-free stuff, but that ain't all that much farther off. And the reason it isn't all that much farther off is because you'll end up craving it later. You're hitting all the receptors without giving the juice, basically. And so your body's looking at you like, hey, you kind of duped me, now I want more. Yeah, there's one thing I think of that, and I guess that's the reason I wrote this first. At least when you eat your calories, there's a process that goes on. Your body actually works to dissolve, digest, and all this other stuff. There's other caloric things that your body has to do to deal with that. When you're drinking Coca-Cola, that's not the case. And by the way, that goes for the syrup that goes on your pancakes as well. So, yeah, you know what? And I'm going to guess. Just like Nick, you guys may have a sweet tooth. Joe, maybe not so much. But you're going to have to get over it. I'm sorry. If you do, you're going to have to get over it. It's like Cappy's stance on quitting smoking. How do you quit smoking? You just quit. You stop smoking. Now, if you need substitutes to quit, I can maybe help you with that. Get in contact with me. Keep in mind, I was a fucking fitness trainer and a nutritionist. I still love cheesecake. I still love pizza. I still love burgers and all the other good shit. I still love cookies and all that stuff. I like the other dips and stuff, you know, like your blue cheese or your ranch dressings and stuff. I learned how to make that shit myself, but a much better version of it. That was even better than what you get in the store. More on that coming up. But that takes effort. So get in contact with me, bacon at thegoddamnbacon.com. Let me know. Second, and this is wasn't the biggest faux pas I saw there, and maybe there was some other snacking I didn't see at some point. I think we went up, what is it? We went out to eat, what, twice a day, which is not bad. What I have written down is humans aren't meant to eat all day. They actually aren't meant to eat every day of the week, to be honest. And I'll bring this back to me. You know, how many times did I eat in any waking day? Usually just once. I'm eating now, but that's because I want to. I hadn't tried this roast beef before, and chances are, if I didn't do it now, I'd probably fucking forget. But otherwise, I wouldn't care. Again, a question that Aaron Clarey, he talked about this before. You know, your wife asked you, "Did you forget to eat?" That's literally happened to me. Ballcast is asking, "Did you forget to eat?" And there's been times where literally I forgot to eat. It was like a 48-hour period. I'm like, "Did I eat something?" Nope. Of course, to be fair, was it agreed at a time? Probably. That was back when we had people actually joining the fucking show. And so I'm talking to them for 3, 4, 5 fucking hours. You know, the sun's showing up. And wake up, I have to go to work, and you know, like wondering why, like I'm kind of tired. And I get back, I was like, I had way more eggs than I thought I did. Oh, I didn't eat. That's the problem. Okay. And the bigger question here, actually, why do you eat multiple meals a day? Again, this goes back to what I'm saying. I only eat one meal a day because I'm not hungry and I know that I need to eat. And because I actually like eating what I eat. If people need to eat breakfast or lunch or brunch or dinner or anything in between, question is why? Is that an actual physiological need? Or, as with most people, it's just something that you were brought up to believe. You need to have 3 square meals a day or 2 square meals a day or whatever the fuck it is. Maybe some desserts in there or some snacks in between, which brings up your eating to 6 or 7 times a day. Maybe even 8. Keep in mind, humans went for a long time, think maybe a week, maybe 2, between actual hunts or successful hunts where they were actually able to get something to eat. So during that time, they weren't fucking eating. Those are our direct descendants. And in case you're wondering, our physiological makeup has not changed all that much. The software has changed. Our brain matter has changed a bit. And that's how we got here to where we are. We're talking to each other on the internet. But our biology hasn't changed. Our bodies are still, for the most part, the same. What that means is that you shouldn't be eating all the fucking time. And in fact, that shit is overloading your system. Your digestive system, it isn't used to being, or at least it shouldn't be, used to digesting food all the fucking time. And if you're eating more than 2 meals a day, hell, if you're eating 2 meals a day, that probably alone is enough to make you go, hey, this is a little bit much. If you're eating 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 meals a day, including snacks, it's working overtime to the point where it can't keep up. Why do people have fucking guts these days? We're going to talk about that in a moment. So I ask the question, are you really hungry? Probably not. More than likely, it's a craving. Ask me how I know. That shit happened to me all the fucking time. I thought I was hungry. And once I started figuring that shit out, I'll wait till, like, I'm hungry. I should eat something. But I don't have anything to eat. Actually, well, that wouldn't be waiting for it, but I didn't have anything to eat. And an hour or two goes by and I'm fine. I probably drank some water in the meantime. And my stomach calms the fuck down. So the takeaway lesson here is make sure you're actually hungry before you actually eat something. Hell, here's a quick test. If you're hungry, drink some water. Not a whole gallon, but maybe like a bottle of water, maybe 2. Now, if you're still hungry after that, then maybe eat some, I don't know, some pepperoni or something like that. But if the hunger goes away, it was just your stomach being empty. Or maybe you actually were thirsty. Who knows? The list of ingredients that ruin fast food. Nick should know about these, but I'm going to put them out there anyways. Number 1, and if I had to include one ingredient in anything that I would excommunicate from my diet in any way, shape, or form at all, it will be vegetable oils or seed oils. Now, if you go on my site and you look up, what was it? Just type in fast food in the search bar. That'll bring up, I think, is like there's 3 articles I have now, and one of them is kind of a marriage of the two. There was the original one. There's the one I did a quick and dirty on, and there's one that Aaron Clary asked me to write, and he never included it on his website. But I put together all the information on both of those into one. And so that's the 4 ingredients that ruin fast food. Number 1 by far, the vegetable seed oils. Canola oil is probably the least offensive out of all of those. I mean, like corn oil, vegetable oil, rice seed oil, grape seed oil, rice bran oil. Actually, it's better to narrow down the ones that you can actually deal with. Olive oil, avocado oil, palm and palm kernel oil, and coconut oil. Those are the only vegetable oils that I would actually consider consuming. All the other ones, hard pass. Soybean oil, I think, is the worst. I think cottonseed oil is another one that's on that seed oil list. Fun fact. Those oils, they were not, when they were made, they weren't considered for human consumption at first. They were for like motor parts and shit. They're lubrication. It was only after they figured out they could use that, it was cheaper to use that than like beef tallow, bacon lard, butter, whatever else there was, that they started putting that in commercial production and all this stuff. And again, that was actually back in the 1900s. It only really caught traction back in the 1970s, I believe. Other things to avoid. Added sugar. Oh, one more thing before I get to the added sugar part. And by the way, this is part of it as well. Added sugar and the vegetable oils, that's kind of added in this as well. A lot of the condiments that you guys end up liking, I watched you guys get these. Chicken fillet stands out to me, actually. And I actually do have the, I still have the chicken fillet sauce packet, you know. And Amos himself said that, you know, you definitely want to try the chicken nugget that Chicken Fillet has with their sauce. And I'm not saying it's not good. I'm not saying it's not tasty. It is. You want to know the first two ingredients there? First one, soybean oil. Second one, sugar. Third one, water. Fourth one, yellow mustard. Look at the dipping ingredients you guys have there. And I brought this up on somebody else's show. I can't remember who it is. They were talking about, you know, making salads and having decent salad dressing, and I pointed out the salad dressings, most of them are made, they're made exclusively with soybean oil, or that's the main ingredient. The ingredients that you see first, and it goes down on a sliding scale. That's the biggest makeup of the ingredients. So you have soybean oil, like we see on this chicken fillet sauce. That's the number one ingredient. Sugar is the second biggest ingredient. Water is the third. So even if you think eating salads is healthy and you use salad dressing, chances are you're coating that shit in soybean oil and sugar. The same with other condiments. Mustard usually is okay. Vinaigrettes, well, that's mostly vinegar and some herbs and whatever the fuck else is in there. So usually okay with that. But anything else, ketchups, your mayonnaise, maybe. Actually, your mayonnaise as well. Usually that also has a lot of seed oils in it too. Main ingredient is supposed to be eggs, whatever, oil and vinegar. Now it depends on the type of oil that's in it. But your salad dressings or your tater tot dipping sauces, or your fried dipping sauces, or your whatever the fuck dipping sauces, your mozzarella sticks dipping sauces, probably mostly made with seed oils. Just so you know. And again, I want to hammer this point home. One of the most dangerous things you could ever put in your body is seed oils. You want to find out why? Email me, or send me a payment. I'll fucking make a video of it or something. to round out this list, soy, especially if you're a guy, and the three people I'm talking to here, let alone whoever else wants to listen to this, they happen to be guys. You want your nuts to shrink, you want your dick to get smaller, eat more soy. We're just talking about soybean oil. That's probably the best way to do it. You want a smaller penis, get more soybean oil. Alongside other health effects. Fiber, that's the last one I have on this list. So I guess there's 5 ingredients. I know people who have diverticulitis. I know people who have ulcerative colitis or whatever the fuck it's called. And they keep trying to tell me, no, it's the fiber you're fucking eating, and they don't want to listen, so they got to burn. But hopefully it won't get to that point where, you know, with you guys. Of which I've seen a couple of you guys, and you're not that far off. There's a reason I'm doing this video. I see that shit coming in your fucking future. All those kind of things, or other metabolic issues that you may think is just kind of inevitable because you're getting older. This shit is preventable. This also is very fucking important. I have written down, get your fucking water in. Drink your water. Now, good buddy of mine up here, Matt Koch, and he was a late night host for KSW, but he's also a part of the podcast, thepodcast.com. Now, I haven't had a chance to listen in lately, so I don't know if he still does that. I'm going to guess he does, because he's a good friend of B. Smith, but he also is a personal trainer, or at least was. I don't know what he's doing now. But he made the observations like people think drinking 2 bottles of water, 2 500 milliliter bottles of water, just your standard 17-ounce bottles of water, that was like excessive. And that was the norm for him. And I can tell you, based on what I've seen on my end, he ain't wrong. And I remember from the stay that we had, aside from running upstairs every time I had to use the bathroom or get rid of some gas because I ate a shit ton of bread, I was also running upstairs to get some water. And what I noticed is nobody else was doing the same thing. I think I drank more water by myself than everyone there at this Airbnb that we had. The entire fucking time. Sure, they drank Coca-Cola. They drank Twisted Teas. Nobody was drinking water. Nobody. What the fuck? You realize how important water is to you? That is important for literally Hitler. Every fucking metabolic process you have in your body, that includes burning fat. And last I checked, since I'm the lightest one out of all of you, and the leanest one out of all of you, you want to get rid of that fucking belly fat that all of you have? Kind of important. Drink your fucking water. What is the normal thing? 64 ounces or something, and you're supposed to get most of that for your food or whatever. I drink at least a gallon. Here's a fun fact. If the roof of your mouth is dry, you need water. Start drinking it. Now, I don't know what symptoms you guys have, and I never thought to ask, to be honest with you, but I can guarantee all of you, none of you are getting enough water. None of you. I know because I was there. Why I'll drink every single one of you, and we're not even talking about alcohol. It's beyond me. Granted, you need a little bit more water if you're drinking a lot of alcohol. I'm still out drinking all of you in terms of water. So that's something I'll put out there. Drink your fucking water. I don't care if you think you're full. I don't care if you think you're hungry. Drink more water. At least get a glass in. If you think you're hungry, get another glass of water in and see how you feel afterwards. If you're not hungry anymore, then it was just a craving. And guess what? Those cravings, they're programmed. Second to last, prioritize your protein. Eating protein to satiation. That's something I'm a huge fan of. If you've seen the meals that I put out there, it's usually steak, it's eggs, and other stuff. It's stuff that has high protein in it. The reason you prioritize protein is because, well, first of all, unlike the other two macros, those are the building blocks of your body. That's literally what you are made of. And especially if you're working on building yourself, you're building more muscle and all that stuff, you especially need to prioritize this. So that is literally the most important macro you have there. But the reason you prioritize it as far as diet goes is that is the most satiating macro that you can get. So let's take an extreme example. You're eating Alaskan cod. Even beyond, chicken breast, I think that's the most protein heavy thing you can get. Like, that's almost all protein, I think Alaskan cod is. So if you just ate that, and depending on your size, let's say you're, let's go with my size, 6'2", 185, 190 pounds, whatever. Just at a guess, and I could be wrong about the numbers, but like half a pound, 3/4 of a pound, maybe even a whole pound. If I ate a whole pound of that, I'm pretty sure I'd be full. I couldn't eat anything else. The lesson being, you eat protein to satiation. Once you get enough protein, you're done eating. Doesn't matter how much energy you've gotten. By the way, if you want to do some crazy fast where you want to lose a ton of weight, that's probably the best way to do a protein sparing fast. You just eat a bunch of cod fish because it's all protein and nothing else. And there's other vitamins and stuff in there, so you're not gonna go under deficiencies doing that. But if you want to lose a ton of weight, just spend like a week or two eating nothing but cod fish because it's all protein. But as far as prioritizing protein, you don't have to go that extreme. Again, I want to say eat ruminants. That means steak. That means cows, New York strip, ribeyes, T-bones, brisket too if you want. All that stuff. Pork chops, different cuts of chicken, depending. There's been studies out there that I've heard, and I haven't had a chance to look into them. But apparently the chicken and pork has enough beta-alanine that if you combine it with basically refined carbs, think of like wheat and like bread and stuff and sugar, that's what causes problems metabolically. So I haven't had time to actually look into that yet. I will be at some point, and maybe there'll be an update here. But just keep that in mind. But the main message is prioritize your protein. You want protein to be the biggest part of your meal there. You want that to be the primary focus. Final thing I have here, and this is the last thing I wrote down. Pick an energy source. What do I mean by that? So there's 3 main macros. There's protein, that's what your body's built out of. That is literally the building blocks of your body. So energy source, it's either going to be fat or it's going to be carbs. Most people get their energy sources from carbs. And it shows. Let me give a little bit of backstory here. When humans they actually had to hunt for their food. They went after animals first. And if that failed, they harvested plants. Take a wild guess and say which one was which. If you guess what they went after was protein, but it had the energy source was fat, and if they felt the energy source was carbs, you win a prize. I'm not saying if you want to use carbs as an energy source, then fine. I know how to do that too. So that's fine if you want to do that. The point I'm trying to make is primarily, at least, you have to pick one. Now, I'm not saying you have to completely give up one or the other. Again, I love cheesecake. I pick fat. I'm still going to eat cheesecake. I'm still going to eat wings. I'm going to eat cake if it's there. If you chose carbs, I'm pretty sure somebody, well, again, is probably going to enjoy wings too. That's going to be a lot of energy via fat. But we're talking about primary energy sources. What are you normally eating? For me, I pick fat, and Nick, I think, picked fat as well. Just looking at what I have here, it's pretty much just meat and cheese and cured meats. Not a carb to be seen. That's something you're going to have to pick. Now, again, Amos, I'm looking at you directly. Does that mean you give it your pancakes with a bunch of syrup and butter on it, which basically is just carbs and fat on top of it, which I think just about every nutritionist I know will say, hey, fat and carbs, like if that's pretty much what you're eating is a bad thing, and that's what the fuck the pancakes are, go ahead and have it every once in a while. I'm not saying don't. But is that what you're eating most of the time? If so, then you got a problem. If it's just what you're eating every once in a while or something, which I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, because, you know, we were on vacation time and all this stuff. Everybody, you know, we're just eating whatever the fuck you wanted. Myself included. Trust me, I have my share of fucking bread and all the other stuff. But even I knew kind of like what I needed to eat just for my body. And so I assume you do the same thing. So that's it. Does this make sense to you guys? Hopefully it helps. I'll be sending this to all of you guys. All the guys who joined me there at the Salt Lake sit down. And again, I'm glad I got a chance to spend time with all of you. I really am. And I think there's other things that I forgot myself that I probably should add into this. If I think about it, I'll send it to you directly to your emails or whatever. But I think getting the experience from what I saw on the ground, from what I saw you guys doing, versus what I was doing, especially compared to what I'm doing now. Look, I want to live forever as best I can, as long as I want to live. What I'm looking at with you guys is, I'll be dead honest, You're going to have all people's issues, all the diabetes, all the neck and back issues and lower leg issues and all that shit. And we're just talking about the diet part. We're not even talking about the exercise part. By the way, just a short hint on that. Work out your back and legs and your triceps. Back, legs, and triceps. Work those out. Those are where you're going to have the most problems with getting older. And so the more you work those out, the less problems you're going to have. But yeah, that's what I got there. Stop drinking calories. Stop eating seed oils, added sugar, and refined grains. Also, soy and fiber, get rid of that as well. You're not meant to eat all day, so stop fucking doing it. Drink your fucking water. You need more water. Prioritize protein. You need more protein. That's what you should be focusing on. And then pick an energy source. If you're going to do carbs, that's fine. We need to talk more if you want to pick carbs. But if you want a big fat, that's a little bit easier. Do the animal fats. So that's what I got. And hopefully this helps you guys. I'll try to make sure I tag you guys in this. I want to make sure you guys hear this. Look, you guys are part of Team Let It Burn. I want you guys to be as healthy and happy as possible. That's why I'm doing this. So whatever criticism you guys have of this, that's fine. But it was done for you. Thank you so much for listening to this. If you wouldn't mind, if you're somebody who's new to this, go to thegoddamnbacon.com. That's where most of my content ends up going. You can find me on Instagram, also at thegoddamnbacon. Twitter, I'm on my third account. Bacon Laughter at Humanity Show. That is Lima Alpha Hotel Show. I'd like to donate to the program. Right now, we just got Venmo. Sorry, that's the only one I got going right now. There's a Bacon Maldito. But really, I would like you to have to go to my regular site, thegoddamnbacon.com, and find the things I have there. I have almost 5 years of content that you can go check out. And so you can go check that out. Thank you in advance. I'm going to get the hell out of here. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, take care. Stay free. And above all else, be chaos, my friends.